what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video. Oh, hang on. That's not right. I want this one first. Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video. And in today's video, we're doing a little bit of a mini Lucci showcase over here on the Japanese side of the game. I didn't really give enough credit to this particular unit when it first came out, and I still had my Garp challenges to do, so I thought, hey, let's just take him into Revolutionary Army 1, and just like what we've been doing with like the new Boa, the new Perona, the Sanji that is coming out on Global, we're going to have a bit of a chat about the unit. We'll talk about the pros, we'll talk about the cons, and sort of talk about where this character struggles and where this character really shines. And I gotta say, like, Lucci's really, really good. Like, he's a really, really good character. I wouldn't say he's exactly what DEX needed, but he's a great buff for the DEX color. And obviously being powerhouse makes him very, very cool as well. The big sort of unfortunate part of Lucci is he's a fighter. Unfortunately, fighters, they sort of just lack, like, what Cerebrals and Free Spirits and Slashes and stuff have. They're not amazing. I'm not going to say they're bad, because, like, if you put the team together right, like, fighters can do a lot, but, unfortunately, just when it comes to, like, talking about classes, like, they're not exactly the greatest thing in the entire world, but Lucci is a powerhouse DEX fighter character. His captain ability is a 5x captain to those 3 attributes, and he greatly increases the chance of landing on matching orbs. So, as you guys will see, like, throughout these runs, like, we are just, like, always getting matching orbs, and it's really, really nice. But we will talk about the downside to that as well. He also gives, I think it's 0.5 of his recovery in healing every time you hit a perfect. And he also gives 1.5 times HP. So massive, massive HP boost, which is really good. Massive attack and healing. So Lucci does, like, a lot, as well as give you, like, higher chance of landing on matching orbs. Now, the downside to Lucci is, obviously, like, as you see there, when you get your orbs rotated into something, like, unfavorable or whatnot, he kind of struggles there because he doesn't have any matching orbs in his kit. But, nevertheless, it doesn't matter too much. There's normally, like, specials and stuff you can actually get around that. With Lucci, he is a super type unit as well. His special is a 2.5 times orb boost to the 2 classes and the 1 color that he boosts, being Dex, Fighter, and Powerhouse. So, very, very strong orb boost. And he also gives 1,000 base stats. 1,000 base stats is, like, it's one of my go-tos now when I'm team building. Like, if I'm building a team for damage, like, it's usually, like, my second thing that I go for. The fact that he's also an orb booster too satisfies 2 of those. And very similar to, like, Boa being, like, a chain locker and a color affinity, base stat booster, it's very, very strong. Vershanks is another one. Rotating orbs, giving a matching orbs, as well as giving an orb boost and a base stat boost is very, very powerful. And it's very unique. Not a lot of other characters do it. And 1,000 base stats is nothing to scoff at. Unconditional is very, very strong. So, Lucci is the Dex base stat booster, but he also does it to powerhouse characters, and he also does it to fighter characters as well, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. With his special too, he also completely removes defense up. So, very similar to Vivi and Rebecca are completely moving defense up and damage reduction. Lucci's just going to completely wipe defense up, which is really, really powerful. It's an ability that's never going to fade, I guess is the best way to put it. Or it's never going to, like, lose value, because if the enemy puts up, like, 20 turns of defense up, you just bring Lucci and, like, you Gucci, you know? But, nevertheless, he has a very, very powerful special, and he has a very powerful captain ability. His super typing, however, is a very interesting one. Basically, whenever you get an orb boost, you can activate Lucci's super type. So he makes Dex characters super Dex characters, and he'll increase the orb buff by 0.3. So because he's the own orb booster for the team, it actually works really, really nicely as a captain. So when you use his orb boost, you can actually turn his orb boost into a 2.8 time orb boost, which is really, really powerful. Like, really, really strong. If you can, like, figure out ways to, like, get that, like, higher, you can do even more shenanigans with that as well. But the 2.5 orb boost that Lucci gives is, like, one of the best, like, orb boosts that you can get, especially for the Dex color. And then to extend that to a 2.8 is one of the highest in the entire game. The only characters that do higher than that is stuff like Roger with his 3 times attack, and stuff like Luffy and Law with their 2.75 attack and boost for their particular colors and classes. But that's basically what Lucci does as we sort of made our way through Revolutionary Army 1. He's a very, very powerful unit, and he does very, very well for the Dex color. We're going to move on to the Hody challenge now, as there's only Revolutionary Army 1 Hody available, unfortunately. But Worst Generation's coming back soon, so we might take some of these characters into some of those harder events and see how they perform there. But I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons when it comes to Lucci in the next half of this video. So I will see you guys there. Alright, so moving on to Hody now. This is the particular team we're using, and I just gotta make note that, like, none of these supports are essential, by the way. Like, I just had them on there just because, and, honestly, just take Vivi off, because Vivi almost cocked this entire run. But I do reload the game at the end, and you guys will see that when we sort of, get to that particular point. But, this particular team actually worked really, really well. If you are trying this particular team, just make sure you do have level 3 Fear on your Kizaru. Otherwise, you're going to need to bring a character to go around damage reduction, instead of the cooldown. But Kizaru just works really, really well because it's a chain boost. And I thought this is a good opportunity to actually showcase Kizaru as well, as he's another character that we sort of haven't really got around to when it comes to showing what the particular character can do when it comes to the channel anyway. So, the positives and negatives about Lucci. So, Lucci obviously is a very, very powerful captain. He's very, very strong. 5 times captain, nothing to scoff at. He has powerhouse tag, which is great. But the downside to Lucci obviously is his dex and his fighter. Now, don't get me wrong, like, decks are kind of on the rise, and they can build some really, really good teams, but, like, they just don't have that support that, like, Quick has, that, like, Int and Psy have, like, Strength has. It's getting better. It's getting much better, but it's just still not there yet. Like, Quick and, Dex, like, in my opinion anyway, are sort of down the bottom when it comes to building color-based teams. If you have a lot of units that are available in the game, like, you are going to be fine. Like, the caliber of units you see on this particular team are very, very good. But, in saying that as well, you just don't have those options, like, especially like Sign In. Sign In just have so many damn options as captains. They have so many damn options to get around particular mechanics in the game. And they just work really, really well. But, nevertheless, Lucci does have Powerhouse in his tag, which makes him very, very strong. He's a very, very good orb booster for the Powerhouse class as well. But the downside to that is you already have a lot of good orb boosters for that particular class. You have Moria, you have Versa Kainu. You have a lot of particular characters that can actually sort of do what Lucci does, but in saying that too, they don't have access to the super typing that Lucci has. So he's going to be a very, very good captain for the Powerhouse class, as well as Dex, and he's going to be like a go-to captain, as his super typing's very damage orientated, and it's very, very good for Kazuna as well. Lucci's an absolute weapon when it comes to Kazuna. Positive about Lucci, and I'll try and remember to release this video. I might release it for members only. I think I did something like 200 billion damage on the latest super boss. And that was thanks to Lucci. Lucci was my captain. He was boosted in the event as well. And then with my level 5 tap lore, I could give it a 2.8 times orb boost on top of like a 2.75 times attack boost, the 1.75 extra damage, the 1.4 chain boost, 2 times color affinity, starting the chain multiplier at 2.5. Like, the team just had everything going for it. Like, absolutely everything. And it actually worked really, really nicely. But Lucci was a big part of that because he gave that 1,000 base stat boost. Lucci being a 1,000 base stat boost is always going to make him viable as well. Unless another character comes out with that particular ability. They can just sort of give that unconditional 1,000 base stats. But the fact he does it to classes as well as the dex color is very, very strong. And it's very, very good. With Lucci's captain ability giving matching orbs, it actually works really, really well for this particular stage. Moving into the next stage where we get our orb seal lock. As you can sort of rely on utilizing double Lucci to guarantee yourself a full border orbs every single time. It's very uncommon that Lucci actually falls on a negative orb, or like on an unfavorable orb, but the downside to that is if you have like your orbs rotated, he doesn't have anything in his kit that will sort of give him matching orbs. However, he does give 1.5 times HP, so damage reduction really isn't an issue too much. And because he gives healing, you can actually get back there, like, you can tank shots and then just heal back, which works really, really well. So you can hybrid him up with something like Versa Kainu, take some shots, get that burn damage, heal back with the Lucci's attack boost, like hitting perfects, and it can work really nicely. You can also partner him up with something like Moria. Moria has a lot of healing as well, and it just works great. When you do have burn, like you do see on this particular stage, you can actually just hit perfects. It doesn't matter all that much that you are taking all this burn damage, because at the end of the day, like, you have 1.5 times HP, like, twice. So, like, 20k is not that much to Lucci. Like, having the 75k HP threshold is very, very good. You have access to a lot of really good ships as well. You have the Mama Shanta. You have, if you're building cerebral teams, you can use stuff like the, what's his name? The Zunisha. So, Lucci has a lot of options, and he has a lot of things going for him. In terms of Dex captains, I do think he's probably the best Dex captain in the entire game. Especially if you hybrid him up with something like Law. You can always hybrid him up with something like Queen. He works really, really well with Queen because he can, like, auto-trigger Queen. So that works too. So he's a very, very good unit. I still don't recommend summoning for him on Global. I definitely don't recommend summoning for him. Mainly because he literally comes out, like, a week before Yamato, which is just absolutely absurd. Do not summon for this. Now, this is where I say, like, don't use Vivi. I will reload the game after this, but I do want to showcase the Lucci special before that. So, Lucci's a very, very powerful unit. I do think he's like an S tier captain at the bare minimum. but I do think he's sort of up there in that sort of amazing tier, as he's always going to see viability with that base stat boost. Completely removing increased defense is always going to be good as well. Whenever the enemy has like 99 turns or 99 turns plus, Lucci's just going to be like, nah, dude, get out of here. He does have competition with stuff like Vivi Rebecca and stuff like that, though, but in saying that, he's two completely different classes to Vivi Rebecca, so it just gives you more options for those particular class teams. So that's going to wrap up the video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and hit that like button for me. If you are new to the channel too, hit that big red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you're notified when I upload my stuff. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later!